Tasmanian Senator Jacqui Lambie has raised the prospect of Australia threatening to close Pine Gap or ordering US troops out of Darwin to send a strong message to Donald Trump. Senator Lambie joins us now from Burnie. Good morning, Senator. Welcome back to News Breakfast.
Good morning. The other thing you've got is the Northwest Cape antenna, which enables the United States to communicate with all its submarines. You could switch that off right now.
And
if you really want. Yep.
You think these are the measures that would send a strong message to the United States that we don't appreciate having tariffs slapped on our products?
Well, absolutely, because they can't move those submarines around in that Indian Ocean without us. That's the first thing. The second thing is when it comes to Pine Gap, and even though in the rule book it says we have to give them 12 months' notice if we were going to remove their communications, why would we do that? Because the hurt that they've done to Australia through our loyalty and our mateship and our sacrifices that we've made with them in the Vietnam War, we followed them into the Middle East, and this is the way that they treat their mates. Okay, so I think we need to put our foot down here. So these are the measures that you can take which will not hurt our own trade. Okay, there's no good doing a trade war with the US. We're not big enough. So these are the measures that we can make, and we can make them today and actually show that we mean business. And these are the measures that they should have put on the table to start with.
The government obviously thinks this is a very delicate situation. What could be the unintended consequences of pulling the United States out of Pine Gap or pulling troops out of Darwin, for example? Would that mean that AUKUS would come to an end? And what would be the global diplomatic implications of a move like that?
I think after paying the US nearly $1 billion cheque that we handed over from 6 weeks ago, we can no longer trust our US allies. Okay, they've made that. They've put us in that situation, but quite frankly, with everything that we've given to them over the years, the loyalty, the mateship, the sacrifice, and that we've stood by them, and we have stood by them thick and thin, not only in the Vietnam War, but also in the Middle East. We depleted our own troops. We had, there was no whiteboard to say that was going to go on for 20 years. Our own defence force is in a mess because of us aligning ourselves with the US in the first place and being in there for so long. And then the way that we just pulled out, we're told by the US we will just pull out without putting peacekeepers in there. It's not only the physical and psychological injuries our troops now carry, but a moral injury. So quite frankly, we don't owe the United States anything. So it's time these leaders stood up. They have to show some courage. Only people are calling out for it. They want some sort of retaliation against the United States, and they want some sort of retaliation against Trump. You have one or two choices. You can sit here in a corner now and you can do nothing and let them walk all over the top of us, or you can continue to play the nice game, which, by the way, has not done anything to help us. So now it's about time you started hitting them back where it hurts. And these things will hurt. I can tell you, if they do not have access to Pine Gap and the communications there, then they are not gathering any intelligence over this side of the world. This is huge. So just warn them. We will close their intelligence off. It's pretty simple. And as well as that, and with all due respect to those US Marines, because I do not want to put you in this situation, but quite frankly, you should tell them they've got 7 days to move their US Marines off Australian soil. Right. That'll really hurt. That will hurt. Yep. And with all due respect to those Marines, please, this is not personal, but what your president is doing to us and the way he's treated us is absolutely shameful. And I would think that most of those Marines can see that for themselves.
Doesn't sound like the government's willing to do that as of yet.
Well, what's it going to do? What's its choice? What is it just going to sit on the fence? Because the way it has handled this has not worked. It has let us down poorly. You have one choice, and that is to go in hard now.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on Admiral Chris Barry, the former head of the Australian Defence Force, saying that he no longer thinks the US, as you're saying, is a reliable ally. He says it's time to move to a plan B. What other alliances do you think the government should be seeking to make at this time when we've had tariffs slapped on our nation? Is it looking to Europe, other parts of Asia? What would you like to see?
I think we've all seen this. We've all seen this during COVID. Is that we've got to stop putting all our eggs in one or two baskets, okay? And I just don't think that we've learnt that. A lot of our trade is done with China. There is no doubt about that. But quite frankly, every day they should be trying to sell our product into a country that's going to take it. And if they're not, they haven't been doing that, and they haven't been doing that. And these are the situations. We're so reliant on some places, and we need to spread those eggs across. Everyone's been saying that for a long time. These leaders up there in Canberra need to make sure this happens.